Welcome back. We continue with our interviews. Now, the second National Conference on Education is set to commence tomorrow, the 2nd to the 5th of August. The conference will be held under the theme, Transforming Education Towards Inclusion and Quality in the Context of Global Challenges. For more on this, I am now joined online by the Deputy Executive Director, Edda Bonn, from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Good evening, and thank you for the invitation.
Now, what necessitated the second National Conference on Education?
Yeah, number one, it is 10 years ago that we had the other national conference in 2011 under the leadership of late Dr. Ndapewa Ambambi. And that conference had formulated a lot of resolutions, of which we have been implementing many already. So for now, we had one of the key resolutions was the implementation of the reviewed curriculum that is to be more responsive to the development needs of our nation, to contribute to developing a skilled workforce. So at the beginning of the year, there was a tremendous cry out by communities regarding, the concept of fee-free education, as well as, the idea of advanced subsidiary being done in your 13th year of school, called the grade 12. So our minister felt, let me go on national consultations and really hear from all communities out there what the contributing or the ideas are, and also reflecting on these reform processes that have been accomplished. That was basically the backbone to this initiative. All right. In addition to that, we had the initiative from the UN Secretary General to call for a Transforming Education Summit.
All right. Now, the theme is Transforming Education Towards Inclusion and Quality in the Context of Global Challenges. Now, putting it in the Namibian context, e-learning remains a continuous challenge since its inception, especially in the remote areas. What has the ministry done in terms of e-learning to improve the learning system brought by the pandemic?
Yes, the ministry has introduced, through the assistance of NAMCOL and other private partners, the entire curriculum has been digitalized from grade 8 to grade 12. That is the junior secondary to the senior secondary. And this is made available through the portals of NAMCOL. And that was one of the contributions in terms of becoming more digitalized in education. But we also have availed smart interactive smart boards in all AS level schools, that is the government schools. And with that, of course, also the training of these teachers. A part of this initiative, we also teamed up with Namibia Media Holdings in developing print material. And that print material was also digitalized. That was for the primary phase. So these were the initiatives on the ground that took off as the result of the pandemic. But we do realize that connectivity, access to data is still a challenge, as well as access to gadgets, computers and devices in schools. So we have yet a mile to go in order to get all schools connected and to create a bit of a buffer or make the education system more shock-proof, not suffering of pandemics and other, adverse calamities that could come our way.
All right. Now, since the 2011 National Conference on Education, the ministry has put in place policies and strategies to address the key recommendations. Are you satisfied that these recommendations were implemented successfully?
Yeah, many of them are implemented, but then we still face, although we have stipulated in those days already that we have to embark on a massive campaign and initiative on expanding our infrastructure right across. That is still to be achieved. And then also the ideas of having an all-inclusive education, whether it's, strengthening the collaboration with ECD care providers and, also the tertiary to have, a more articulated system. So there are still spaces to improve. The same also with professionalization of the teaching profession. That means coming up with a regulatory body for the teaching profession. So there we are still lagging a bit behind, and that is also one of the purposes to create that bigger ownership and buy-in for these activities and initiatives.
All right. Now, Ms. Bonn, who are some of the guest speakers expected to speak at the conference?
Yeah, we have, as we are reflecting on our progress, so we are tapping into our local expertise, and especially there where research was done and initiatives are growing, where we have colleagues from the National Council of Higher Education, but we also have professionals from the universities and other tertiary institutions. So it is a good mix of all, but most of all, it is also for ourselves to, to show how far we have come and what the gaps are still there. So it is a very fine mix of, of external input and our own, because we now have to, as a nation, to get together, have to recommit to all these transformative initiatives.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Bonn.
Thank you. All the best.
All right. That was the Deputy Executive Director from the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture talking to us about, that is, of course, the second National Conference on Education that is set to happen from the 2nd to the 5th of August. Don't go anywhere. Let's take a look at more local news.